need for different and new conservation approaches is quite critical.
I think it's quite obvious that the current ways of doing things are not really working for humanity or the planet. One of the key issues in how we approach conservation traditionally is that we tend to look at it from the perspective of separating humans and wildlife and nature into two different and distinct spheres, while at the same time humans are obviously quite dependent on nature and wildlife, and so we need to look at it as a whole.
The protected area philosophy tries to separate people from nature. Apart from being problematic, but it's also causing a lot of social injustices. The funding and financial mechanisms that support these conservation approaches are actually the driving force of biodiversity crisis. Particularly in Tanzania and many other parts of sub-Saharan Africa, conservation is totally militarized. So there is quite significant use of military tactics, but also even the training. Now conservation agencies and conservation workers are being trained in military tactics, and they are having these military fatigues. What you want is to have conservation that is socially just and conservation that embraces ecological integrity.
One of the transformation pathways that we are trying to implement or promote here is first to find alternative mechanisms that would suit this kind of conservation, that would suit coexistence. And one of these is we are promoting, for example, trying to get the people paying insurance premiums so as to be compensated for livestock losses that are a result of lion predation.
Livestock keepers and pastorists, they are also very much open to different ways of governance, but also different ways of interacting with these species. And then they are very much interested to try new ways of governance and new ways of living with these predators.
In Finland, wolf conservation is a very contradictory subject. There is a lot of very vehement opposition to conservation measures, although at the same time economic damages are not actually very high here.
Convivial conservation is possible. It is possible to live in the same landscapes with lions, with jaguars, with wolves. But that possibility is there if only we change our consumption habits. Instead of talking about protected areas, it's about promoting these areas. It's about promoting democratic values, inclusive decision makings. It's about promoting indigenous conservation community areas that would really embrace the CON-VIVA vision. Through that way, then we'll have a much better place to live on this planet Earth.